everybody. Welcome back to the Forge. Good to have you here today. We're going to go ahead today. Coffee. We're going to go ahead today. We're going to see about getting this wood cut for our wooden part of our scales here, and get those trimmed up right and get them put on. We've got those right here. So let's see if we can get some wood trimmed and cut and fit up in here. I really want to get these done. They're really gonna look good on this knife, I think. We're in the home stretch on this, and I'd really like to get it done. I want to get it moving on here to another project. You know, I love doing these things, but one this complicated with all this aluminum, you know, this aluminum just came out of an old truck wheel. I mean, it's not like I had nice flat aluminum stock to work with to start with. I just cut out a couple of big square blocks of aluminum out of an old truck wheel. It's aluminum alloy, and then I had to shape them down, you know, to what you see here. I think they look pretty good on there, especially with the micarta liners in there. Kind of breaks up all the silver across here. You know, you've got your spine, and then you've got your pommel bolsters, and same thing on the front here. I think it's going to look really sweet when we get the handle on it. So let's stop screwing around. Let's get to work. Now, on our scales, we want them to line up on both sides of the handle. If you see this wood, when you put it evenly, the way it was cut, you know, end to end even, it throws this stuff off in here a little bit. I don't quite understand that. I think maybe it's because of how sweeping the grain is, maybe. But in order to get this to line up so that it will look good on each side of the knife, we have to slide this one scale up just a little, which leaves us this little bit here. Oops. Get it back where I had it now. So then we have to slide this one scale up here just a little bit. That lines up all of our lines here. So if you flip the knife back and forth, those lines are going to line up. There's not really any lines coming across the spine of these, so we don't need to worry about those lining up, but we want these to line up like so. So when you flip, you know, when you flip your knife back and forth, looking at either side of the scales, that these heavier patterns in the wood, you know, will match up. So what we've got to do here, first off, is we've already taken this and I've marked a little line on here where we want to cut these. So let's get them squared up here perfectly. And I was a little bit off on my line when I first drew it on there. So we want it about right like so, I believe. We'll put us a little mark right here. Now we'll scribe a line across that. And we'll zip that bad boy off right there. lines those up quite nicely there, the way we want them. Now they're even. Now you see all our little patterns come down evenly. So when you flip, when these are on either side of the knife, now when you flip the knife back and forth, you know, this line will match up with this line, because like I say, there's really nothing up here to line up. Nothing that catches the eye or anything, but these will. And if these scales were off, and a person was to look at this and see that that line comes right to here, then flips it over and you realize, oh shoot, it's way up here on this side. What's, you know, why? You know. So we got everything lined up a little better, and now these will get zipped off up in here. But we've got to do a couple little measurements and get things lined up here. Got this little lip on here. Don't really know why. So we got our scales glued and pinned on our knife, and we're going to cut these off, trim this up now. We'll cut off these pins and try to trim the bulk of this off of there before we go to the grinder. Yep, we're back to hand sanding again. I seem to do a lot of this. Well, so here we are. We finally got these scales on this thing. This has been a load of work to do this and try to go to work every day and all of that too. So you can see how those scale liners set off all of that aluminum, and we put these in here, and I think she's going to look pretty good. Now these will be polished up almost to a mirror polish, this aluminum, when we get finished with this, and then this will, the wood here and all of the micarta all around wherever there's micarta, that will get poly on it, and it's really going to pop when it's done. I mean, it might be a little hard to tell right now because everything's kind of just rough sanded and a little bit dull, but when we get her done, that handle with all those, what did I say we had in there, 20 pieces when you count the pins, that's a lot of stuff to put together and try to get straight and even, and I think we pulled it off. I mean, there's some minor, some real minor discrepancies here and there, but you have to look pretty hard to see them. So, and if you didn't know they were there, you probably wouldn't see them. So I'm pretty happy with how this handle turned out. It's really been a pain in my Watusi, but I'm happy with the results, and it'll be a while before I take on another one like this. I mean, that between the Damascus billet and the twists and the forge time and just everything we've been through on this knife, there's a lot of work in this knife and a lot more to go. I mean, there's a whole bunch of polishing and sanding to do on this knife yet. We're in the home stretch, but there's still a lot more to go. So I appreciate you watching and being here. We'll try, I don't know, I'm probably going to work the rest of this week. The weather's clearing up, so probably won't be till the weekend when we do our next video on that knife, and hopefully our last. Now that I'm down to just hand sanding and polishing on that, I'll probably try to work on it a little each night when I get home from work, depending on how late it is or what else I've got going on. But I'd like to get that one wrapped up by the weekend. It's Monday now, so I'd kind of like to have that knife wrapped up, polished, sanded, clean, all those coats of poly on it. and have all of that done by the weekend so that we can move on. I want to start working on another knife. I mean, I love making these knives, but sometimes one like this, as complex as the handle and everything, and it just drags on forever. So, hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. Hit that like and subscribe button and help me out a little bit if you would. And it's great to have you with me in the shop and on these projects. I hope you're enjoying them as much as I do. So we'll try to get this one wrapped up by the weekend and move on to a new project. So have a good one. Be safe. Get out to your shop. Do something. You know, clean it. I need to clean mine. That's going to be my first project as soon as this knife is done. Before I do any more projects, clean the shop. I can only do a couple, 3 projects, and it just gets to be a disaster area, and it really needs to be cleaned. So I'm going to get that shop cleaned up, and then we're going to start on another knife. My knife. This one's going to be mine. If you saw my last video or somewhere, heck, I get so many things going on, I can't remember what I said. It was going to be a biker themed kind of knife. That's all I'm saying for right now. I got a little thing I want to try, and it's going to be fun, and if everything works out, it's going to be a good looking knife. So thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next one.